on me. I'm a lady. You wait on me. And they did, and she cooperated, and they cooperated, and it was safe, and it was fun, and they will be back later on today. Now, a tribute to the Tuskegee Airmen, the Red Tail P-51 from the Minnesota wing of the Commemorative Air Force. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Danny Clifton, and on behalf of the 8,000 members of the Commemorative Air Force, we are pleased to be with you today and bring you the P-51C Tuskegee Airmen to AirPower Over Hampton Roads. The Commemorative Air Force, the largest flying museum in the world, 140 aircraft, mostly World War II vintage aircraft, and 100 wings and squadrons across America and around the world. Our motto, lest we forget. And these are the airplanes that are put on display and flown to tell the history of air power in America and the role that American airplanes have played in keeping America free. Now, Doug Rozendaal is the pilot of the Red Tail P-51. He is flying a national treasure. It is not his airplane. It belongs temporarily to the Commemorative Air Force. They say we are only stewards. We are only stewards of this national treasure. We take care of it, we monitor it, and we show it for a period of time. As we get older and retire, other people will do that. Now Doug will be getting into place and wave to Mark McCanley, who got the Misty Blues up to altitude, hit his open door system 182, and they will be back later on today. One of the great things about the P-51 is it's actually built by North American Aviation for the British before America got into World War II. We were not yet in the war. The British needed more airplane to augment the Spitfires and the Hurricane fighters that they had, and they wanted North America to build a Curtiss P-40. But Dutch Schillerberger said, no, I'll build you a better airplane. They said, get it done in 121 days. He said he would, and this is the airplane that came out. It was known first as an 836 Apache, outfitted with an American-built Allison engine. It was primarily a ground attack aircraft. It didn't have the horsepower, didn't have the power to get up into the dogfight arena until it was mated up with the British Rolls-Royce Merlin engine built by the Packard Company in America. They call this airplane the Cadillac of the Sky. Now, several things to enjoy this airplane with in honor of the Tuskegee Airmen, who, by the way, were the African-American pilots in a program that was meant to fail. It was meant to prove back in that time period that black Americans couldn't fly airplanes. It backfired. They could. They were valiant. They were talented. They persevered. And then they went out to guard the long-range bombing run. And they had an impeccable record of keeping those bombers safe. Look at the area behind the pilot's head. There is no canopy back there. That's why this one is called a Razorback, and again, a very rare model. Now, at the bottom of the airplane, you'll see a radiator scoop. These engines were cooled like your Ford car and truck with liquid cooling. The enemy knew if he shot your radiator and your coolant leaked out, the engine would get hot, it would freeze, and you would have an airplane that had the characteristics of a falling brick. The other great thing about the airplane, in addition to its profile and the fact that it was the best all-around fighter, many say of World War II, is the sound. So look over your right shoulder and just close your eyes and enjoy the sound of the V-12 engine. As the pilots came back from a mission, they quite often would do what Doug just did, the victory roll. There were some very neat concepts that made the airplane successful after it was mated with that Rolls-Royce engine. Several things happened. From an altitude of 25,000 feet maximum, it now got up into the dogfight era, into the dogfight arena of 25 to 35,000 feet. That engine added another 100 miles per hour to the airplane. Then it became a formidable dogfight aircraft. It really was able to take advantage of what North American had built into the airplane, and that is a laminar flow wing. It was revolutionary as Doug has devised a slow roll into 4 parts, stopping the airplane every 90 degrees of rotation. Point roll demonstrates the precise handling capabilities of what most regard as one of the greatest fighters of all time. Now we choose to fly this airplane to these great American heroes, bring their story to the audience all across America. If you can imagine, you were a young black kid in Detroit or Chicago. In 1940, you wanted to fly and fight for your country. That was just not possible at the time. The Tuskegee experiment provided the opportunity, and the airmen seized it and pursued their dreams. And in doing so, they changed the world. If you look at the bottom of the fuselage, you will see that radiator scoop. Now, normally, folks, that would provide drag because it sticks out there. However, you've got to cool that coolant fluid. Well, North America came up with a great concept. At first, the air was burbling out in front of that scoop on the bottom of the fuselage. It was disrupting the cooling of the airplane. One of the chief designers put what they call a gutter, a space between the scoop and the fuselage. That cleaned up the air coming in. So revolutionary was that gutter that as this airplane passes in front of you, look below it, and if you can see that space above the radiator and below the fuselage, you'll see a little space. They're now stopping every 45 degrees and doing the precise 8-point hesitation roll. You want to see another example of that scoop that is still being utilized today? Look down at the air intake of the Thunderbird's F-16. You will see that still in evidence today on that jet. Now the other neat thing they did to reduce drag. Cool air comes into the front of the big radiator opening. It goes through the radiator, cools both the oil and the engine. Then there is a gate that has a variable opening that allows that hot air to go out. Now, that is the concept of a jet. You take cool air in, you compress it, and you force it out the back or the rear exit point. So efficient was that exit point at the rear of that radiator that it actually produced thrust rather than drag. That's what made this airplane, doing the inverted wing waggle salute to the Tuskegee Airmen, that's what made it so fast, faster than a Supermarine Spitfire of the British, because they got 300 pounds of jet thrust out the rear of that radiator. It was called the Meredith effect. Back in World War II, that was called the P-51 because the Army Air Corps was in charge of the aircraft. That was before the Air Force was invented. And they called their ships in World War I and World War II pursuit aircraft. Navy and Marine Corps called them fighter aircraft. You hear the P-51? A P-51 in World War II was just that, but the designation changed in the Korean War because the Air Force had been born in 1947. It became the F-41, F-51 that is, F-51, to be more in line with the Navy and Marine Corps fighters. That change took place in June 11th of 1948 when the E for Pursuit became the F for Fighter. And after the war, pilots bought these and raced them at air races around the country. And the thing every kid wanted to do after World War II was get a hold of one of those surplus high-speed pursuit jobbies and go out and race other pilots around the pylon. I told you that over 15,000 of these aircraft were built. It is said they cost $50,000 in World War II money. After the war, ladies and gentlemen, thousands were surplus. You could pick them up for $1,000, for $800, for $1,100. You could have bought 1, 5, 10, 20, 100. If we would have, we would be rich today, because right now, the price of the few remaining and flying P-51 is averaging just under $2 million. And that's based on restoration quality, the number of spare engines you may have. There are, in the United States, 100 that can fly on any given day. There are about 75 that do fly on a regular basis or semi-regular basis. And if you're the proprietor or the owner of one of these P-51s, you need two things. You need a big coal shovel, and you need a dump truck full of money. And you take the coal shovel, and you take the dump truck full of dollar bills or $10, $20 bills, and just dump it into the intake of the P-51. They are an expensive airplane to have. But man, oh man, are they great. What a sight, what a sound. Now, the other challenge of World War II is the fact that many of our bombers and fighters and transport aircraft had tail wheels. That was the dominant but not exclusive realm of aircraft landing here in World War II. We did have tricycle gear airplanes. And when Doug Rozendaal, one of the few current P-51 pilots and the steward of this Tuskegee Airman P-51 Charlie model, one of the 4 or 5 that actually are in existence, probably 3 of those 5 can actually fly on a given day, are